Hello, it's Jerry Davidian from Refinish Coatings. Today I'm going to be showing you some individual products and their application. Our standard compound, which is a little bit thin in viscosity. It's very strong, and I'm going to do this repair without putting any type of patch on or under. Again, I'm just going to demonstrate the use of our compound. Now we're going to get some compound underneath and in between this tear. And I'm going to remove off the excess. I'm going to get that lined up. And with my heat gun on the full setting, heat it till it cures, till you see it starting to smoke, and then I'll put the chill bar on it to bring it down. Okay? And the chill bar will cool off that compound to prepare it for the next layer of material or filler. Or one thought process is to only take enough compound on your tool over to the repair area. And you do this so you don't make a big mess. When we were in grade school, there was always that kid that used all the glue to glue the sheets of paper together, and he had a total mess when you only needed just a little bit. So just take over what you're going to need so you don't get in trouble. And apply it however you feel comfortable applying your compound, and cure that. And we're going to put multiple layers here until we get this repair done. The farther I spread this compound, the more grain I'm going to have to restore, the more work I'm going to have to do. So again, keeping your tool clean and only taking what you need over to the repair area is going to limit how big this repair gets. You want to make sure you're heating this compound until it becomes clear. Okay? You should start to see it smoke somewhere off around the sides of this repair. You'll see a little bit of smoke come off. Your compound needs to be clear before you go to the next layer. Uncured compound will look milky, and it's going to cause your repair to fail. So you continue to do this. They all get cured. 3, 4, 5, 6 layers is typical. So you leave the chill bar on it for long enough to bring the temperature down. When you're curing it, that temperature is very hot. If you're to put more compounds right on top of the still warm compound, it'll make your fresh compound start to harden up, and you don't want that. And it'll start to cure. Okay, once you have this level and strong, you're ready to put the texture in. And so you select your grain mat, which we sell in sets of 12 currently. And you would select the one that best matched this texture. And we're going to begin to reheat or get the vinyl repair compound hot again into a liquid state, and then we're going to quickly put the pad down, the texture pad, over the hot compound. I'm going to usually use part of it, my hand, the palm of my hand here, and to get an even pressure. I'm also not going to attempt to do the whole thing at once. This particular area I'll do in 2 or 3 sections to get my texture in. It's important you keep moving this concentrator nozzle quickly back and forth. And you can see how quick I did that. And you need to do it real quick. Otherwise, the compound will not pick up the grain that you need. Leave that on there for a few seconds and you can peel it back and you can see you have a texture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cool this back off. Put a little bit more compound over this area that came out too grainy. Get that nice and smooth. Make sure the edges all around here have no compound. And you're ready to cure again. So we're going to cure. You'll see that this compound, as I'm getting it hotter and hotter, it almost looks like it's starting to get like a liquid, in a liquid state. And it probably is. I'm not going to stick my finger in it, but it's probably pretty hot. And so I have an area about the size of a silver dollar that I'm going to work on right now. And you can see I'm going to move round and round and round, and I'm going to lay my mat down. If you're happy with that, you're good. It's real important that you look at all angles, and I'm using the light reflection coming off the compound, which is glossier than the area around it. I'm looking in the light. I'm looking for imperfections that aren't going to show up until I put the color on it, and by then I don't want to have to go back and restore texture or get rid of a little sharp edge. So, I'm looking along this tear, and I'm looking around these edges to see if I have any spots that are not going to look good once color goes on them. And I don't like this area over here. I'm going to give this one more layer. It just seems like it needs more filler. So we're going to give that one more shot. And I don't need a lot. I'm going to put a little down and spread this out. Okay, and if you look, if you could pick up the light, Todd, then you could see that there's no edges, there's no ridges. Here, I'll do one that would look not good. If I did that, you'll see there's an edge. That's not going to come out when I put the grain texture on. So I need to have that smooth. There's no sanding this. Once it's cured, that's the state it's going to be in. So I'm going to get this little portion of the repair, heat it up, get my compound curing till it's starting to smoke, and I'm going to gently and evenly press down. And actually, it's not gently; it's quite hard. Give it some pressure. Hold that down there for a couple seconds, and then peel it up, and then examine your repair. If it's good, you're ready to go to the next step. Actually, if this is done now, the next step is I'm going to take just a little bit of our green cleaner and I'm going to wipe off the surface. And I do that for the reason being there very well may be some cured or uncured compound on my fingertips that I was smudging around this repair, and so basically it's like leaving a little contamination spot for adhesion of your coating. So you want to clean that off. Again, I can't stress enough how important it is to make sure that all your compound is cured. If there's a white, transparent, milky look to it, that means that the compound's not cured at the very underneath section. That's what's going to cause your color coat or your dye to peel off in a week or two. And that's because the oils in the vinyl repair compound are still present. They haven't been heated off, and they migrate to the top of your repair, which is underneath the coating that you put, the color coat you put on, and that oil that comes up ends up making the color coat just peel off like a Band-Aid. So you want to degrease it, or you want to clean it to make sure there's no residual uncured compounds on there. The next step we're going to do is to continue to prevent that oil migration to the top of the repair down the road, whether it be a couple hours or a couple weeks, is we're going to put down some barrier coat. Barrier coat's going to be a coating that's going to help block out or keep that that oil in the compound that may still be there from coming up to the top. Even if the compound is cured all the way, there's still a chance that there's some residual oil left in that compound that may come up. So barrier coat is best applied in small little dime or nickel or quarter size sections, and you can use a brush or your fingertip to do it. And the barrier coat sometimes gets a little thick. If it does, you can add a drop or two of lacquer thinner to thin it down. Barrier coat goes on and dries really fast, and as soon as it hits the air, it starts to tack up. So again, you do small sections, maybe a nickel or quarter size spots, real quick, and go from one spot to the next. It doesn't block up your texture or your grain, and just apply it real quick. One coat, and that's it. And that's barrier coat. Another product you could use next, which is always optional, would be some texture spray. And this is going to help get rid of what we will call this ring or this shiny spot. In the event that your texture mat that you used is not exactly the same depth and pattern size as the area around it, there's a chance you're going to pick up a slight shiny spot over your repair. To alleviate that, we would use texture spray. The texture spray is going to help even out the light reflection off the repair and integrated into the surrounding area. I like to apply my texture spray with a mouth atomizer. Some people use a pre-val sprayer. Some people may put it in a spray gun. I like to use a mouth atomizer to apply the texture spray because it allows me to control the droplet size. The harder I blow, the smaller the droplet size. The lighter I blow, the larger they'll be. The thing I like to do is to create a soft mask line around the spray texture so I don't get spray texture all over the place. I want to keep it confined. So I do that with some towels. And I just do this. And I'm going to put light layers on and dry them in between coats. If you spray too much at one time, the little droplets will start to join together, and then you just have a mess. So the spray texture I'll dry with a hair dryer. It does not need the heat from the heat gun. It's too hot. And I'm going to look this over and decide if I need to put more texture spray on to help even out these two textured areas, my repair and the surrounding area. And that looks like that's going to be fine. So the next step is to spray this. Okay, before I put my coating on, I'm going to also use our new 603 primer to put on here. The primer is going to be used for adhesion and another layer of protection in addition to the barrier coat that I put on to keep the oils, if there are any in that compound, from coming to the top. So the primer coat is going to help hold down that oil. It's also going to be excellent for adhesion. Primer coat goes on in just a thin one layer. I like to put it on with a piece of foam or a sponge, and you just simply wipe it on as thin as you can. Okay? And that's all we need to do for primer coat. That's our 603 primer coat. I'm going to dry that, and then we'll go with our colored top coat. This is before we're ready to put our color coat on. So again, we did our vinyl repair. We degreased that to make sure there's no oil left on the surface or from our hands contaminating the area. We put down barrier coat. We put one light layer of spray texture over it to help blend in the surfaces. And then I just put one thin layer of primer coat with a sponge applied down there. That's dry. My top coat has been cross-linked and strained, and I'm ready to go. Okay, so there's with two coats. There's a little bit of contamination and there's some flaking. And some fuzz. I would just scuff that off with like 1,000 pieces of sandpaper, 1,000 grit. The thing is it looks a little dull, the coating. So I'm going to address that by simply putting in a little bit of our 080 or our 090 or 095 top coats, which are patent leather gloss, super bright, or 80 bright, just to help bring this up. And so I'm just going to add a little bit. Okay, so there you have the repair, and I didn't put a backing material on this. This had a bad crack. I could have used a screen on top and welded it in, but I just wanted to demonstrate our vinyl repair compound, which is pretty sturdy, and it feels nice and soft. It's not stiff. It's got good texture, and the sheen is correct now. That's it.